Look at this cheesecake. Oh my God. Let's slice it up. Look at this. Look at that. Delicious. So my favorite dessert for the last several years has been Ube Cheesecake. I always get it on my birthday or special occasions, and I always wish, God, if I could eat this every day and not get fat, that'd be amazing. Well, the good news is I've been working on a recipe for the last few months to do exactly that. We can eat this, fit our macros. This has 30 grams of protein per slice, and it's a third of the calories of a Cheesecake Factory slice. So let me show you how to do it. The macros for this cheesecake depend on how thick you slice it. So I cut mine into eighths like this, and this is a pretty hefty slice. This is 8.5 ounces. So for this slice, it's 389 calories with 30 grams of protein. But I'm a pretty big person. I'm 6'2", 180 pounds. If you want a smaller slice, you cut it into 16ths. That'd be under 200 calories per slice at about 15 grams of protein, or cut it into 12ths and you're looking at about 280 calories, 22 grams of protein. I know it's cheesecake, but this is actually a very filling slice of cheesecake because of the high protein content. I want to give a shout out to the two channels who really inspired this recipe. One is Cooking with Kurt. I made both of his Ube cheesecakes. They're amazing. Really helped inform me the Ube flavor on this recipe. And then the other is Nick from Exercise for Cheat Meals. His protein cheesecake recipe is pretty much the base of this one that I learned from. So thanks to those two channels for this one. Okay, some things you might want to have for this recipe is a Springform Pan. This is a 9-inch one. It's important for getting that nice round cheesecake, but you don't need it necessarily. You can use a different baking dish, but it may change your baking time. So I really recommend a deep mixing bowl like this that's tall. The reason why, there's a lot of batter that's gonna be made in this. If your bowl's not tall enough, it's gonna splatter everywhere. And Ube is purple and difficult to clean. So just to save you the frustration, get yourself one of these if you don't have one already, okay? Now, I don't have a stand mixer, but I do have this hand mixer, which has been handy dandy for many years, really cheap. I think it's like $13. The instructions will be the same either way, whether it's hand mixer or stand mixer. You're always gonna mix on low just until everything is combined. It just is easier with a stand mixer, but I don't have one, so you can still make it without it, no problem. A couple of slightly unusual ingredients. One is Ube Halaya, which is a ube jam. The other is Ube Extract. Definitely need both of these, so get them online. If you have a Filipino market near you, they may have both of those, so check it out. This is optional purple yam powder or purple sweet potato powder. This adds more ube flavor and a nice deeper color to it, but you can get by without it. But they do have these on Amazon for cheap though, so I would definitely look into it if you want to go the extra mile. Let's talk about the ingredients. You need a container of 2% cottage cheese, 2 blocks of third fat cream cheese, 1 block of fat-free cream cheese, some Ube Halaya. Gonna want 3 eggs plus 2 yolks, a little less than 2 cups of 2% milk, some sugar, definitely flour, sweetener of your choice. I like this Erythritol monk fruit one from Costco, Ube Extract, 100% mandatory, some salt, and then the best tasting vanilla protein powder you can find, about 3 scoops of that. Ube powder is optional. Let your cottage cheese, cream cheese, and eggs sit on the counter for a couple hours to get to room temperature. This way, it'll be way easier to blend them. Before we mix the ingredients, let's preheat the oven to 450 Fahrenheit. Let's put our bowl on a scale, and we're gonna add our 3 scoops of protein powder, 40 grams of flour, and 15 grams of ube powder, and we will whisk it to combine it. Now we're gonna blend the cottage cheese. I'm using a stick blender here. I like the control I get over it on the texture, but you could use a regular blender as well. Takes about a couple minutes with this blender. You just want to blend it until it looks smooth, like this. And now the fun begins. We're going to take our giant mixing bowl and put it on a scale. That's going to make it easier to put it all in one dish instead of using multiple dishes to weigh things out. And here's our 325 grams of our whipped cottage cheese. Now I'm going to go in with all my 3 blocks of cream cheese. Boom. And now our 70 grams of granulated sugar. Next up, we have our erythritol. That's going to be 110 grams. You can play around with this measurement. You can do more or less depending how sweet you like it. And then our 4 grams of salt. Add in the 70 grams of Ube Halaya. And we're going to mix this down just until it's all combined. We're going to mix this on low, and then we're also going to scrape down the sides with our spatula as we go. Keep going until the ingredients are evenly distributed and you don't see any white clumps anymore. This portion took about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to slowly pour in my milk as I mix it down. So just keep slowly, gradually getting it in there. This portion also takes about 2 minutes. Make sure not to overmix. You just want to mix until everything is combined, but nothing beyond that. Gonna add in my Ube Extract now, 15 grams or 1 tablespoon. And just mix that and look at that beautiful color coming in. It's my favorite part right here. Now we're gonna mix in 1 egg at a time in our egg mixture. And just keep going really slow and make sure each egg is beaten in completely before you add in the next. And this whole process here took about 3 minutes. And again, just keep scraping with your spatula. Really important to get the sides too, that way you're not wasting any mixture. That way all the clumps will get dissolved into the mixture. I added in 2 eggs there an accident, but that's okay. Doesn't matter too much. All right, now I'm gonna use a mesh strainer and sift in my dry ingredients, my protein powder, flour, and ube powder. Just pour all of it in and then slowly sift in the dry ingredients and mix at the same time. This process here took about 3 minutes and probably the longest part of the process. Might be smart to take the spatula out at this point and just, you know, let the mixer do its thing. And then once all the dry ingredients are in, we'll come back in with our spatula and mix everything in and just make sure the sides are scraped. Cool, looking good. And after mixing that for 3 minutes, we are done. Look at that beautiful batter. All right, let's prep the Springform pan. We're gonna open it up, take the bottom, put a piece of parchment paper on top of it, and then we'll put the top back on and clasp it. This just makes it easier to get the cheesecake out of the pan. And then I do recommend wiping down the top of your mixing bowl, just so that no powder is, you know, pouring out when you're pouring the mixture in. Time to pour. We're gonna spray the pan on the side just so that the edges don't stick. Now we can pour it in. Look at that thick, purple, beautiful batter coming right out. And use your spatula to scrape all of it out. Don't mind my purple fingers. Ube Extract is a little bit annoying in that sense. Actually, one thing too is tap the pan on the counter a few times to get the air bubbles to the top. I forgot to film that part. And then put it in the oven, 450 for 30 minutes. There it is, fresh out of the oven. We can see it's nice and jiggly. That's a good sign. That's where you want it. The internal temperature should be 155 if you have a thermometer, so otherwise 30 minutes should be fine. After it's done baking, let it sit on the counter for about 2 to 4 hours, and then after that, cover it with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge overnight. The cheesecake should be good for about 7 days in the fridge, otherwise freeze the rest. All right, of course the best part is eating it, so here it is. By the way, the whipped cream only adds 15 calories for that dollop, so you know, could be worth it. Okay, so with that cheesecake, we don't have a graham cracker crust, right? So the crust is formed by the high heat. So we have a high oven at 450 or so. And what that does is it makes it that the top is brown, the very bottom is brown, and then the outside is brown too. But then the middle is nice and soft. So that's like the whole point of that cheesecake. That's why it cracks too, because the high heat is caramelizing the edges and the bottom and top. So that's what gives it that nice browning on the top. So beautiful stuff. By the way, it is breakfast time. I am eating this for breakfast because why not? Cheesecake, 30 grams of protein. It's a great pre-workout, honestly. Okay, and I've eaten just like over half of the slice so far. And honestly, I'm feeling fairly full. Like this is a very filling slice of cheesecake. That's what I was saying earlier. Portion it how you want to. 8 slices are pretty big. 12 isn't that bad. Also, don't make this without a food scale. The food scale is so crucial for baking. You need one for sure. Okay, well, I'm honestly like that's so filling. I'm stuffed. What can I say? High protein, 1/3 of the calories of a Cheesecake Factory slice. Filling, taste amazing. I mean, this recipe is insane. So if you guys enjoy this recipe and this content, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'll make plenty more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.